Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're going to take a quick look here at KDA. If you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, this is for educational purposes only. I just find great benefit myself in helping others become more successful as traders, right? So if you're interested in the trading community, feel free to check out the link in the description below. I actually have a community that is growing rapidly, and it's a really awesome experience. I just provide signals for every single trade that I take. Now, regardless of that fact, we're going to look at Bitcoin first as a quick baseline, dive into KDA here next. Now, just so you understand, Bitcoin is performing average right now. In other words, it's going sideways like we're expecting. It kind of peaked out between 65 and 66,000. That is the major resistance channel. We got a support channel here between 58 and 60,000. But for lack of better terms, Bitcoin is kind of trying to decide whether or not it wants to break to the downside or stay on the upside. Now, something to note really quick here, so you understand, there is a strong amount of volume right down here around 55,000. So the price does retrace and kind of cut below those support levels. We should see it average out around 55,000. That'd be an awesome place to take entry just before it decides it wants to ramp back up to six figures. All right, so that's kind of what we're looking at there for Bitcoin. Now, KDA. I was actually working with one of my community members earlier today, one of my patrons, and they were asking, hey, is this going to continue upwards? Well, it actually has a continuation pattern forming, and I want to kind of show you that so you can kind of see what that looks like. Now, on the one-day chart, it doesn't look like much. We'll look at the 4 hour though, and you'll see what I'm seeing. Now, really quick, just to clarify, we're up on the RSI. RSI is up over 70. It's pretty standard for a continuation like this, and ultimately, the MACD doesn't really matter at this point. That doesn't matter at all. But the bottom line is that it appears to be overextended, but it's not calming down. 70 on the RSI is essentially working as a support level. All right. So let's go ahead and work on out to the 4 hour chart. This is what I want to show you here. Because I was looking at this earlier, and I was like, well, it's got definitely the continuation pattern here, right? In other words, pattern is like this, where the price comes up, kind of maxes out, retraces, and kind of works itself into this little funnel, right? Inevitably will break out. Now it's just starting right now to break out, but I feel as if it might continue to the upside. Obviously, we want to respect the resistance levels here as well and kind of see what happens first. But for lack of better terms, it wouldn't be terrible to add to your position and maybe have a sell stop right at the next closest support level, somewhere around, let's just say 615, to ensure that in case the price were to retrace, you're still not out a lot, right? And what I mean by that here is take a look at this here, right? So for symmetrical triangle continuation, I just refer to it as a bullish continuation pattern. It comes up, kind of works itself into a wedge here, and then it breaks to the upside, right? So there's a good chance it'll break up and then come back down and then maybe bounce, right? So there's a great chance we'll see something like that. But again, worst case scenario, you add to your position, the price comes down here, and it bounces off this next major support level. Now we can take a look at some other support levels and kind of find out if there's anything else that's been developed in the last couple of moments here. I can't really see too much here. Obviously, there's a slight resistance here. Why don't we do this here? Because it's hard to really kind of understand that without pulling up a larger chart. Why don't we take a quick look here and just go ahead and add these resistance lines here? Because I can obviously see that we have a resistance around 786, and the next major support level, you can kind of see here the 4 hour candlestick closed right around the average of about 680. Okay, so adding a stop loss somewhere around 680 wouldn't be a terrible idea if you're going to add to your position. Just wait and see how the price responds to this. It'll probably kind of bounce up here and come down and then ramp back up after that. Kind of do like a temporary dead cat just before it catapults to the upside. So that's basically what we're seeing here so far with KDA. All the chart patterns are kind of leaning towards that. Keep this in consideration, though, of course. You always want to err on the side of caution. That's why you put a stop loss in place. But when it comes to patterns like this, the average, in my experience, over just say the last 15 years of trading, looking at these charts in and out, day in, day out, I've noticed that they tend to be, on average, I would say about 70 to 80% accurate. In other words, when you have a pattern forming like the one that we see here, it's a stronger likelihood it'll go up than it will go down, right? Now, again, if Bitcoin tanks to 55,000 tomorrow, there's a strong chance that Kadena will also dip because every coin is reliant on Bitcoin. That's why we look at Bitcoin first to get an understanding of what's going on. But the fact that this is performing as well as it has and Bitcoin is effectively going sideways right now, we're going to see it take off probably and leg up again based on the simple sentiment that Bitcoin is preparing to ramp up once more. It might take a little while depending on what happens, of course, but that is a general sense there. So just keep in mind, Kadena is doing very well. Really awesome coin. I think that we're going to see some good things here. So big picture, I would say, just as a educated guess based on previous, Fibonacci retracement patterns. Just say we go with the most recent here, the most recent one. I would say that we're going to probably see somewhere in the range of $9.60, maybe even $10 in the next week or two. I think that's very likely. So if this were to break to the upside, we could see that. Granted, that's not as much of an increase as it was prior, but we need some time for it to kind of calm down and relax before it legs up again, right? So if all goes well, it'll kind of give us a little false jump, and then it'll take off here in the next couple of days. But yeah, just keep in mind, I think $10 is likely by end of November. Year end, probably much higher, but we'll bridge that gap when we get there. For right now, let's just focus on what we got. Respect the support and resistance levels here. So again, support is 616. That's a stronger support. The new temporary support is roughly around 680. And obviously there's a resistance right up about 787. So just again, respect those levels. I typically like to wait for the price to average itself out at a support, but in this situation with this pattern here, I think we're in pretty good shape to see a bullish continuation in the near future. Hope that works out that way. If not, again, set your stop losses, protect your investment, and don't get greedy. Try to take profits while you still can. I teach my community members, my patrons that all the time, and it's important to do so, right? And again, there's a lot of different things I can't really include here. Feel free to jump into the patron community if you'd like to check that out. It's actually a really cool experience. I'm getting to know some really cool people over the past few months, and we trade about an average about 80 to 85% success rate overall. So check that out in your own time. I actually have a descriptive video, reference that as well. So thanks again so much for your time here today. We'll look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Have a good one. We'll see you then. Take care.